Okay, so welcome ladies and welcome people who will watch this video afterwards. We are back after a break in April when I was in South Africa and the UK. So I've got lots on the agenda for today. So interrupt me at any time if you've got questions, but I'm just going to sort of shoot through. Okay, so let's move on to the next slide. These are some pictures from my trip. Over on the left-hand side is my son and daughter-in-law and my grandson and my little baby granddaughter. And then in the middle, the very proud daddy holding my little 9-month-old granddaughter. And then on the right is my two brothers. And we gave my brother a little birthday party. His birthday was just a few days after we left. And everybody in his unit, he lives in a home, everybody in his unit were very thrilled with all the cake. You couldn't hear a thing while they were eating. They were so happy to have the cake. Okay, so there we go. And again, a reminder, no silly questions. You can ask anything you like. Just because this is sort of up front and center for me at the moment. I leave in just under 3 weeks to go to Saskatchewan to teach. And I have got 6 classes I'm teaching there, one of them being the ice dyeing class. And there it is. And I've been having a whole lot of fun. So if there's anybody who wants to have a class on ice dyeing, you let me know. And maybe in July, we can do something kind of live or record. I think it'll have to be live. But I'm happy to do a recorded one as well. All you need is a bunch of ice blocks and I can send you dyes and then the fabric as well. But in any event, that's an offer that's made because it is a huge amount of fun. Okay, the next thing is I want to do something next month and July. Hang on, let me just see. July, yes, July, we will still have Sew with Liz Club. So for June and July, I want to focus on summer sewing. So I'm going to give you a bit of a challenge and I'm going to ask you to post pictures on the Facebook group of things that you have either sewn in the past or are sewing now for this summer. And I've got a few ideas here. Now, I have got a patio table, and sometimes the wind blows, and it blows my tablecloth up. It's sometimes even knocked over a vase that I have there with kind of silk flowers in it. It's weighted, but the wind still blew it over. So I was thinking that it would be a really good idea to have a tablecloth that's got elastic around it. So I actually bought a plastic tablecloth at the dollar store yesterday. I just thought, oh, that looks nice and happy and summery. And so I'm going to make this for the table on my patio, and I'm going to do an elastic casing around the edge. I may do it with my serger. I'm not sure yet. But I also want to do some embroidery on it. So I'll talk about some tips for your tablecloths in a moment. One of the places that I saw some inspiration was on Pinterest. So if you just put in summer patio tablecloths or something like that, lots and lots and lots of things will come up. And there we go. So that's my challenge to you, summer sewing. And then another idea for summer sewing is to make little reusable bowl covers. Yes, sure, we can use saran wrap, but I still have a roll of saran wrap. I had one of those giant ones and it's still going. But once it's gone, I don't know if I can buy another one. I'm going to see if I can try to manage without saran wrap because really it's not very good for the environment. So I thought let's talk about maybe making some easy fabric bowl covers as well. So that's another idea for summer sewing. And the tips that I've got for you for the tablecloth is you can embroider on plastic, but my advice is not to do too dense an embroidery design because depending on the plastic tablecloth that you buy. Now, the one that I bought, it's got it's got a very thin layer of flocking on the back, but it's still quite thin. And I think that if I did a dense embroidery design, it would probably perforate the plastic. So choose your design accordingly, or alternatively, you can embroider on plastic. So if I was going to embroider on this, I would probably, sorry, not on plastic, on fabric. I would embroider on some white fabric and then just cut the design out and applique it onto the tablecloth. I did that once before, and it actually was quite effective. And then you can just place your embroideries wherever you want them on your tablecloth. The other idea is if you get that clear plastic that you can buy at Fabricland or a place like that, that you can see through. And then you can either have 2 layers of it, or your underlayer can be some other, maybe even something like this one that I've showed you. All right. And then you're going to place flowers, dried flowers, or embroideries, or bric-a-brac, you know, all sorts of bits and pieces. You can make some display on the bottom layer. Then you're going to put the clear plastic on the top, and you're going to iron it with a press cloth. And that actually fuses the 2 layers. But you'd have to do a check first, because I've only done it on 2 layers of clear plastic, the same type of plastic. I don't know if plastic would bond with this tablecloth that I bought. It might not. Okay, so there you go. There's some ideas for tablecloths. And fabric bowl covers, there's loads and loads and loads of ideas on Pinterest, so you can go and have a look. Another idea is to remake your patio cushions. I know mine are looking very faded and sad, and it probably wouldn't be too big a job for me to actually recover them. They're quite thin, so it wouldn't be a huge job, you know, where you've got to have the panel around the cushion. I don't have that kind of a patio set. Another thing would be umbrella covers. I made one a couple of years ago for my son-in-law, because he'd bought quite an expensive, what do you call it, umbrella, you know, very fancy.
Like the standing one.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's too big to take inside or put in their hut. So he asked me to make him an umbrella cover. And I can't remember, I'm pretty sure I would have put it on Instagram. Almost sure I did. But we got a very thick, sort of kind of like a canvas, a plasticized canvas, that's weatherproof and supposed to be ultraviolet. You know, it does, the sun doesn't affect it. And it was quite a mission, because it's pretty tall, but he was super happy with it. And he was very happy because, I mean, I gave him the labor for free, but the fabric we bought, and the zipper and all that, I don't think it was more than $50. And he'd looked to buy one, and it was well over $100. So he was a happy chappy. And then summer napkins. I know we tend to use paper napkins and then we throw them away. But if you've got some pretty fabric with lovely summer flowers or summer fruit or vegetables, you might want to make some summer napkins for your patio table. So there's just some ideas. Okay. And the challenge is, let's see what everybody's going to post on Facebook. When I get my tablecloth done, I'll post too. Okie doke. All right. So I wanted to mention seam rippers. Now, I'm sure both of you know this. Do you know what that little red ball is for? You know, on the seam ripper there.
I think it's to prevent going too far or something. I can't remember. It has a job in life. I know.
Yeah, you're pretty close. Maury, do you know?
The only thing I can think of is it goes on the bottom, and it keeps the other pointed end from ripping it, whatever you're trying to unstitch.
Absolutely, you're correct. If you put the seam ripper in, and there's loads on Pinterest about it, videos and all. If you put the seam ripper in with a little red point between the 2 seam allowances, and then you go slowly, don't go sort of like that, because then you'll run the risk of ripping it. And then it really does, it holds the fabric open, and lets you cut your seam so much quicker. When I learned that, and I've been using my seam ripper, man alive, it's really so much better. All right. And then also, I have never tried to sharpen my seam ripper. But apparently, if you get steel wool, you can sharpen a seam ripper with steel wool. You just rub it gently on that little sort of U shape between the red ball and the point. And apparently it helps, but I can't say for sure if it does because I haven't tried it. Okay.
Never thought about doing that.
Yeah.
No, me neither. And then there's apparently some other tool. I didn't recognize the name of it at all, but it's like a little, it sounds to me like it's a little round implement, and it's got like an emery board surface, and you can rub that between that in that little U. Sounds like some sort of a tool that would be in a man's workshop. At any event, I don't have one, but I thought I'd mention it. Okay, so twin needles is what was requested. So we're going to talk a little bit about twin needles today, and the twin needles obviously get used with the pin tuck foot. That's when you'll get really nice pin tucks. But twin needles can also be used just for straight decorative stitching, and you get everything in double vision. Okay, so we're going to talk about a few things, and that's what I showed last month, the pin tucks. All right, now twin needles, they come in all sorts of different sizes. And you can get them as low as, I've got one here. I haven't ever found another one, so I hope this one doesn't break. But I've got one here that is 1.6 millimeters. It's really tiny, and it gives you a lovely, fine pin tuck if you're doing pin tucks, or your stitches will be really close together if you're just doing decorative stitching of some sort. Even a zigzag looks pretty with a wing needle. With a twin needle. Then if your machine, whoops, where did my screen go? Sorry, you haven't lost it, but I lost it. Okay, so the twin needle safety function. Now, some machines have got that. My big machine has got it, but the machine that I sew on a lot with, my granddaughter's one, it doesn't have that. So you've got to kind of have eyes in the back of your head kind of thing when you don't have the safety function, because I'm sure you'll understand that if you've got a twin needle in the machine, or sort of that way, and you have set, let's say, at stitch width 5 or 6, and then you choose a stitch, it's going to go like that, and it's not going to fit in the foot because it's going to be wider than your 7 millimeter or your 9 millimeter foot, and the hole in the needle plate, and whack, and you're going to break your twin needle. So remember that when you're using a twin needle, to use your safety function on the machine, it's usually a button. I know on Janome it's a button at the front. Have you got one? I'm sure you've got one too, Maury.
I probably do, but I haven't looked at it.
Okay, your manual will also tell you.
Yes.
It's actually, if it's on the front of the machine, it might be on the screen of the machine, on the touch screen, but it looks like a little twin needle. And then it's got a line through it, and it will automatically, certainly on Janome, I don't know about every machine, but it will actually reduce the width of your stitch so that you won't break your needle. So it's a really handy thing to have.
Yeah, because I have the new M7, so it should have.
Oh, it definitely will be on that, for sure. You're a lucky girl. Okay, then spools. It can be a little bit of a problem, and I'm going to just bring my camera up here now, and I'm going to switch to the camera so that you can see my setup on my little machine. And I think what I'll do is I'll stop sharing so that you can see this, and I think you can see that good enough. All right, so I've got my thread on the horizontal spool thing, and then there is this little spool pin, okay, that comes with pretty much all of our machines. The M7, I think you don't have it because you've got that lovely spool stand at the back of the machine.
Yes, so it
which
holds
comes
two
up with the
spools.
antenna. Yes, so you don't need to worry, you've got a built-in.
Yeah,
But this little machine doesn't have that. So I have to put that spool holder in and then put my second spool on there. If you have a drilling needle, and I'm going to try and, well, I'll show you a picture of that in a minute. That's when there's 3 needles or a triple needle, then you're going to have to somehow figure out where to put the third spool of thread. If you've got a thread stand, great. Otherwise, if all else fails, you could use the coffee mug story. It's not the most ideal, but you could do it. Okay, so that was the setup there, and I will just go back to the PowerPoint and share my screen. There we go. So your triple needle is the one that I'm looking at now. All right. And that will give you some interesting effects. This one here would be much wider. That one's like a 4 millimeter. And it's really not, it's going to give you a very big pin tuck if that's what you're trying to do. But if you're just doing decorative stitching and you've got some stabilizer underneath, it can give you some very interesting effects. But you're going to have to reduce the width of your stitch because that's pretty wide. Then this one here would probably just be a 2 millimeter. That one looks like it may be a 3 millimeter. And then obviously on this side, we've got some more twin needles. They are not inexpensive. I think when you buy a twin needle, most times you're only getting 1 or 2 in the box, and you're paying the same as you do for a pack of 5 needles or whatever. So you do want to take good care that you don't break your needle. I don't use mine all the time, but when I do want to do something fun with them, it is a great thing to have. All right. And French terry. Okay, so I thought it might be quite nice to introduce a new series about different fabrics, because I've been doing volunteering at a textile recycling place in Vancouver, and the lady that is the manager there knows her fabrics inside out and backwards. And when I went last week, I picked up a piece of fabric and it felt absolutely beautiful. And I thought, oh, this has got to be silk. And I said to her, is this silk? And she shook her head like this. She said, no, Liz, it's woven tencel, which is made from trees. It's a form of rayon. But honest to goodness, it felt like silk. And then I picked up another thing and I said to her, and I can't even remember now what it was, it's this. And she said, no, Liz, it's this. It's polyester. So, you know, it just, there's so many different kinds of fabric out there. And I thought, okay, Liz needs to get her knowledge up and running a bit more. So I thought I'd go through a series for you guys. So French terry, you're probably aware of. I have got 2 pieces of French terry here that I absolutely love. This one is a top. I know that I've put pictures on Instagram of it, and it's quite a long one, and it's got a sort of border at the bottom. And what I'm going to show you is it's got these little loops inside. All right, they're not as thick a pile as what you would get on a bath towel, but they do have these little loops, and that's what you're seeing there. That's the inside, and this here on the outside looks just like a jersey knit. Now it's hard to see it on here because there's a pattern, but you might be able to see a little bit there. Okay, so the French terry, and then this one is another one that I've got. It hasn't washed and worn well, and the French terry loops inside are not as thick. So this would be a more lightweight French terry. So I thought, let's talk a little bit about French terry. I discovered some interesting facts. It's used primarily for the fashion industry, and you'll see it most often on sweatshirts and hoodies and other similar garments. It's got that looped back construction, which I've shown you, and it means that the inside of the French terry has got a soft, fuzzy texture that's really great for keeping you warm on chilly days. But that French terry also absorbs moisture. So it's a fabulous fabric for athletic wear and jogging wear and going to the gym. And in summer, it's lightweight. It breathes. So you can use it for summer garments as well. So a summer t-shirt, if it was a really hot day, like the other day, I felt like I was just a grease pot. I was so sweaty and sticky. And if I'd had a French terry t-shirt on instead of a polyester one, that would have absorbed the moisture and it would have wicked it away from my skin, and I'd have felt a whole lot more comfortable. So I'm sort of on a mission to get some more French terry now and make a few t-shirts for the really hot summer weather. You can also wear it for loungewear. It makes lovely PJs too, lovely warm PJs. It can be made of cotton. And that obviously is the most breathable of the French terries, but they often blend it as well with polyester, spandex, and lycra. And it's the spandex or lycra that give it the very good recovery. And I know that on this one, I've got very good recovery. On this one, not so much. So I would say on this one, there wasn't as much lycra or spandex in it. But obviously, the percentage of spandex or lycra has to be quite low. Otherwise, it would lose its breathability. So primarily, you should be looking for French terry with a high cotton content if you want that breathability. What other things do I need to tell you? Midweight French terry is great for winter, and the lightweight one is great for summer. And look for it. Lightweight and medium weight, both are available. All right, tips for sewing French terry. You need a ballpoint needle. Okay, that is crucial, because if you use a sharp one, you can pierce the fibers and it can actually damage the fabric, and it can have little runs from your seams. So you do need a ballpoint needle. Use the right thread. Even though it may be cotton, you need a polyester thread because it's stronger, especially if you're going to be using the garment for active wear and jogging and going to the gym, where it'll get lots of wear and tear and moving. You need a polyester thread because that will be stronger in the long run. You can use a stretch stitch on your sewing machine, or you can use your serger. I would, of course, use my serger, but people who don't have sergers, you can get by with a stretch stitch on the sewing machine. Another good point, if you're not doing it on your serger with its differential feed, you could use a walking foot to help feed the fabric through, especially when you're dealing with one that's got a sort of thickness to it. Use pins sparingly. Well, the reason given was because the pins can pierce the fabric, but I think if you've got the right pins and they're really sharp and they're good quality pins, I don't think that's an issue. Personally, that's my feeling. But there are some pins that are just horrible, and you try to put them into the fabric and they just don't go in. Don't use those on French terry because you can pull threads. We've all seen garments with pulled threads. And
clips would work well, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. Clips are fabulous. I use them a lot of the time. I've got quite the collection of them, actually. And I bought them in little dribs and drabs of different colors, because the big one, the big box, I sort of looked at the price tag and thought, are they crazy? They're just clips. And I bought some cheap ones somewhere else, and honest to goodness, I now use them as paper clips because they just don't work the same as the proper ones. But I bought them little bit by little bit, and then I didn't feel it so much. But I probably got more now than the big container of them. All right. And then when you're finishing your seams with French terry, it doesn't really unravel. It's like most knits, but it looks so much better on the inside of the garment if you have professionally finished it with your serger, or if you don't have a serger, maybe you open out the seams and zigzag them, or you use a Hong Kong seam finish, something along those lines. This is a more expensive fabric. That's why I actually don't have any in my stash at the moment. Generally, if I specifically want French terry, I'll go and get it for a particular project. But I would reckon most times, certainly at most retail stores, you're probably paying over $20 a meter, sometimes well over $20 a meter for French terry. But if you go to the places that I go to in Vancouver, one is Our Social Fabric, and the other one is Fab Cycle, and both sell online. It's considerably cheaper than that. Yes, they do sell by the half meter, but it's a lot cheaper than buying them at a regular retail store. I think French Terry is probably somewhere around $9, $10 a half meter. So, all right, it's getting up there, 20-ish, but sometimes you can get it for less, especially if they have a sale or they've got a special on French Terry that week. So if you're interested and you don't mind being tempted every time they send an email, then you can sign up for both of them, sign up for their newsletters, and they'll notify you. For example, Our Social Fabric has a sale on one particular type of fabric every Thursday, and Fab Cycle has a sale every Friday. Okay, so we've got one more person coming. And so there you go. That one will be an option for getting cheaper French Terry. All right, so let's move on to the next slide. Hi, Carol. You're muted, sweetheart.
I'm late.
That's okay. We're recording, so you can catch up with the recording. We've just
Okay.
been talking about French Terry because I decided to start a new series on different types of fabric. So most months I will talk about one particular type of fabric. And so the previous slide, was talking about French Terry, and we also talked about twin needles and so on, but you can catch that on the recording. All right. Oh, and ladies, there is information. We have found lots of really good information about French Terry. And this is a website that I have subscribed to, and they send me lots of emails. So if you don't want lots of emails, don't subscribe. Just
We're
go
s-
and look at them online. And
We're,
that
see, we're seeing just the French Terry screen. I wonder if you need to advance the screen or something for us.
oh,
We don't see a website.
oh,
Oh, it's on the
it's at-
bottom
on
of the
my-
screen.
It's at the bottom of my screen on my iPad. Anyway,
And it's
I'll
on
tell
mine
you
too.
now. It's just hellosewing.com.
Okay.
Let me see if I can move it up. No, I can't move it up. I'd have to go into my PowerPoint to do that.
Oh,
But-
okay, I've got it. I did
got it.
50% and I saw it, but not
Ah,
at full
okay.
screen.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's just hellosewing.com.
Okay.
But like I say, they do send quite a lot of emails. I think it's probably one a day. So if you don't
Oh.
like getting loads and loads of emails, then just go and look at their website and then back up. Don't subscribe. Okay. I just signed up for a course on Pinterest. It's called Pin with Purpose. And I'm going to see what I can use to sort of grow my business. And honest to goodness, the woman is sending me 4 to 5 emails a day.
Oh,
We have a 3-day live course next week, and I'm actually going to say something because it's just overwhelming. And I haven't even got through a quarter of the emails she sends, let alone all of them. So I know what it's like when you're getting deluged in emails. Nobody really likes it very much. I, of course, are on the other end of the spectrum, as I hardly ever send you emails. So probably I'm losing out on contact with you because I'm not sending emails very often. Anyway, moving on from French Terry, the Sew with Liz monthly draw. And I think we're zooming along, aren't we? Yeah, we're just over half an hour. I am going to dig into my glass jar. And before I pull a name out, these are all the names from the March Sew with Liz Club. And I think what I'm going to do is stop the share. And I am going to, no, Kitty, the cat's up here.
She wants to help you draw, or he.
I think so. And you know, somebody suggested to me, because he's really feeling the heat, and they said put a towel in the freezer. Oh, he's not happy with that.
oh,
He did not like a cold towel.
Oh, yeah.
And in event, he may get used to it, but for now it's not. And he just goes and lies on the towel floor. So these are all the people who posted projects on the Facebook group since the March Sew with Liz Club. So there's 2 months in here. Not a lot. I guess people are busy. All right, so let me pull it out. And before I open it up, and show you who it is, I wanted to mention, and this is more for the benefit of people who are watching the video afterwards, there are a lot of times the same person wins. And that's because there's a few people who post often, and that's fabulous. I don't want to be the only one posting projects. But if more people posted, there would be more chance of people winning. All right, so this one, oh, she's not here today. It's Laurie Willits. And she did the bra course in February, and she was brave enough. If you scroll back down the Facebook group, she was brave enough to post a picture of herself in her bra. And it's a really lovely Ingrid bra, which is a wireless bra. So I think Laurie will be really pleased. She's going to get a pack of 3 different sizes of twin needles and a half an hour of one-on-one Zoom with me. So that was the prize for this month. Okie doke. Let's have a look and see. Let me share my screen again, because I think I've got something else to share with you. Okay. All right. So I did want to know what sewing techniques you might want to do in July and in coming months, because I'm trying to prepare well ahead of time so that it's not this big crush like a week before Sew with Liz Club, and I've got to suddenly dream up something to teach you. So if there are topics that you would like, just post it on the Facebook group and say, hey, Liz, I want to know about this. Hey, Liz, I want to know about that. And I will try and weave that into the presentation. All right. And then the next slide is to mention that the next Sew with Liz Club will be on the 19th of July. If you're away on holiday or you're at the lake or something, it doesn't matter, because I will record it. And I will then post the link on the Facebook group. And we will be talking about summer project ideas, but if there are other things you want to talk about, or maybe you've got a project you'd like to share, I will happily give you the podium. Okay. And then unfortunately, there will be no Sew with Liz Club in August, because I'm going to be away on a 3-week cruise. So I won't be around to prepare and do that in August, but we'll be back again in September. All right.
So there's June and July?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And I will remind you on the Facebook group and my Instagram and my Facebook pages. I just put the Zoom link only on the Facebook group, because I feel these are people who've joined the group, and we're not going to have some random inquisitive man walking in. So I announce it on Facebook and Instagram, but you have to be a member of the Facebook group to come here to get the link to log in. Okay, so over to you, ladies. What questions have you got? Have you got things you want to talk about? Is there something more you want me to show you? You tell me.
One of the things I'm interested in is these rope bowls that people are doing. There's lots of people posting on those.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, there's some really cool ones. That
There
would
are
be
some
fabulous.
beautiful ones.
Yeah. I joined a group on Facebook and just to see what the possibilities are.
Yeah.
And beautiful bowls, but I'm really intrigued how they finish, like the top on some of them. They're so decorative with beads and all of that.
Yes.
And
yes,
it now looks like the group is like a teacup challenge. They're making teacups and saucers out
Oh,
of
wow.
rope material or whatever.
Not
Yeah.
to put liquid in, though.
No, but
No.
just as decorative
Decorative.
and stuff, like, and somebody put a
Yeah.
plant in it. Like, they probably have it in a pot, but anyway, just like they're so creative. Like that
Yeah.
would be really neat to look at that. Yeah.
And
How do
people
I
are
make-
making the
Sorry, I just want to know how to, oh yeah, remove spotlight. It's at the top. I didn't want to be big on the screen. I wanted all of us to be the same size. Okay.
I've seen people do the either like a rope bowl or a platter, but then they're doing embroidery on top of them. So they're
Yes.
using both
Yes.
their machines. And I thought,
Yeah.
oh, brave people, but kind of cool.
I've done a couple with the embroidery on it.
Have you?
Oh, And what do you
Oh,
use as the rope? Like what? Because there's always conversation about different kinds
Yeah.
of rope, and
Yeah.
I'm not sure what we have available.
Yeah, cotton clothesline,
Cotton clothesline,
quarter inch, I think it is.
quarter inch rope.
Mm.
yeah, there are various thicknesses. So let me prepare something on that. And maybe I'll make a set of PDF notes or something like that.
Oh, that'd be good.
I had a very thin one, and honest to goodness, it took forever.
Hmm.
So don't make it with very thin rope. It just takes too long. I've also made it with polyester rope, because you can buy polyester rope. And that works fine. But yes, I think quarter inch is about the smallest you can go. And you can go bigger, but obviously, you can't go too big that you can't get it under the foot
Yeah.
of the machine.
Right.
Because
Yeah.
if you put the presser foot down and it doesn't engage, you can't sew.
Mhm.
But yes, I have made a couple of them, and I will dig those out, and maybe I'll try one with embroidery. I've been meaning to do that, but I haven't got there yet. So I'll try one with embroidery. Have you got any hints and tips, Carol, on the embroidery? What did you find that worked?
I don't know.
You just did it.
I just did it. I was just trying to see. I did one that's just a plain like what would you call it? Placemat or
Yes.
Like a hot pad or something.
a hot pack. And it was very easy. I just did the design was a flower or an herb in a mason jar.
Okay.
Oh,
And
Nice.
it was from Designs by Juju, one of those.
Okay.
And it was very easy. I had no
Okay.
problem.
So did you put it on top of stabilizer in your hoop?
No, I didn't. I didn't
Oh.
use stabilizer at all.
wow.
So how did you get it to stay in the hoop?
On the how do you mean? Oh
Well,
yes,
if you were embroidering on it.
I must have done that.
Yeah.
I don't remember doing.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm trying to think.
I would think that maybe something like a water soluble might be good.
I think that's probably what I did.
Yeah, because then you can just tear it away.
And yeah,
Or a sticky bath.
Yeah, sticky,
maybe,
yeah.
I wondered.
Sticky would probably
Maybe.
be good too.
Yeah.
Mm,
Because then you don't have to hoop the bowl. Or
Yeah.
the hot pad. Just
correct.
hoop
And
the
I'm
stabilizer.
assuming that
Yeah.
if you're doing it and the bowl's already made,
Yeah.
you would have to put it underneath the foot and
Mhm.
rest
Yeah.
it onto the hoop.
Mhm.
I think I would start with something flat, like a hot pad.
Yeah, I think if you're doing a bowl, they say,
Oh,
"Oh,
look at it.
beautiful! Look at that! Oh, wow!
Oh, that
I don't
is
see it.
lovely.
Ah, so that's
I
like
can't s-
fabric wrapped."
yeah.
I can't see it.
Oh,
Oh,
Can you
on
hold it up
Carol's-
You have
again?
to hold it
Yeah.
up long. Let me spotlight you. Let me
Oh, cool.
spotlight you.
Isn't that nice? Yeah, well done.
That's
Very
beautiful.
nice. Oh, look at the fabric in the middle.
Nice batik. Yeah,
Yes.
Yeah.
beautiful.
That's gorgeous.
Did you do that with Jennifer Tryon?
oh, actually, I did it on a class at our local quilt store did with Susan Madu.
Oh, yes. Okay.
And yeah, we had a retreat one week and we did them,
Okay.
and it was interesting.
Excellent.
Be fun.
Excellent. All righty. So that's given us some ideas already. So yes, the wrapping of the fabric, and then how to finish it off at the top with beads, or that looked like you used a button. Am I
I
correct?
did.
Yes. So we can use up some of those one-of-a-kind buttons we've got
Yeah.
that we haven't used on anything else.
That's a good idea.
Okay, that's a great idea. Right. Any questions or other ideas?
I'll post if I think of something.
Yeah.
Okay. One question, which is not really about Sew with Liz Club, but I wanted to ask Carol, how are you doing with the serger?
I did finish my practice today.
Excellent. So
It took
that.
a while, some of them, but I finally got through it all today.
Okay, good. So if you need to talk to me on Zoom, let me know. Just email me and we'll set up a time. And I'm finished the notes for part 3 and I've just got to record the video, but it's been so hot in my studio where I record that I haven't started recording yet because it's just been too hot. However, it's now cooling down a little. So I think I can get started on my recording this weekend.
Good.
Okay, and I'll send that to you as soon as it's ready.
Okay.
Okay, so ladies, is there anything else you ladies want to ask or talk about? We got through the subject matter quicker than I thought
Yeah.
we would. So I did have more information about French terry. Would you like me to tell you that?
Sure.
About care of your French terry. Let me just look here, how to wash it and so on. That's probably a good thing to know.
Talk about the quote behind you on the wall, Liz.
Oh, sure. I'll talk about that. Okay. The French terry, it's this is not about looking after it, but its big features are comfort and durability and style. And then I think it's further on in the notes. Yes, tips for maintaining French terry. It's very easy to clean. It does not wrinkle very much. So that's nice for vacations when you've got to pack it. It doesn't wrinkle very much because it's got a lovely natural stretch. And the don't use a high heat on your washing machine. Preferably don't tumble dry. Hang it up to dry or lay it flat to dry. It'll last longer. And then avoid using fabric softener, which I thought was interesting. We don't use fabric softener anymore. We have those woolen balls.
Yeah, that's what I
5
use.
of them, and we use that.
Yeah.
And we've had them for years and they're still going strong. We just prefer not to have those chemicals, you know, all over the place. And when my neighbors are using their tumble dryer and you go out my front door, boy, you can smell those fabric softener chemicals. So I don't know if it's good or bad, but we don't use it. So don't use fabric softener on French terry. And then to prevent looping and pilling, it's recommended that you wash your French terry separately from other garments and that you don't wash them together with things that will rub like, you know, a lot together. It's like something with a very strong texture. I would guess something like a denim. Don't wash your French terry with a denim because it's too rough and scratchy. Okay, so the quilt behind me, there is a story there, Maury. Many years ago, let me bring it up like that. Many years ago, I was working at a quilt, not a quilt show, a sewing show in Toronto. And my friend Karen, who is with us today, was there at that sewing show. And she came and found me on the booth. I believe I was working on the Elna booth or the Janome, I can't remember. And she said, Liz, I have found something that you just have to see. So when I could get a break, I went with her, and this was the fabric that was on sale on a booth. And it was panels of the big daisies, and then there was yardage of the smaller daisies. So I bought a couple of the panels, which I cut up, and then the smaller daisies I used as my sashing. And then what I'll do is I'll get up now, and I will lift my computer and hopefully not pull everything over because we're attached by cords. Let's just see if I do that and I do that. Oh yeah, that's fine. All right, if we come up close to it, do you see that I have got sequins?
Oh,
Well, not sequins, those hot fix crystals.
cool.
In the center of the flowers. And then I have decorative stitches around each of the black blocks. I did loads of decorative stitching on it. Okay.
Beautiful.
So there
That's
you go.
neat.
There was a bit of a story about that, and I've had it for a long time. And interestingly, at a show in, I think it was Calgary, a lady, I think it was a Canada actually. And so this is a long time ago now. She came up to me and it was in the booth. I just finished making it. And she said, "Did you make that?" And I
Your
said,
voice,
"Yes."
your voice is coming through garbly. I'm not sure if there's something on your mic, or
Okay, can you hear me now?
say a bit more,
Hang on a second.
or it's echoing maybe.
Echoing, yeah.
Yeah,
There we go. Is that better?
better, I
A
think.
bit.
Okay.
Yeah.
So a lady came up to the booth and she wanted to know if it was my quilt, and I said yes. And she said, "Have you had it valued?" And I said no. Well, she was a quilt appraiser.
Wow.
She valued that at that stage in, I think it was 2010. She valued it at $800.
Whoa.
Wow.
Well, I wouldn't have sold it for that.
It's beautiful. It's a beautiful
It
book.
was the same as my other big quilt that I won a ribbon for at Quilt Canada. That was valued at $1,600, and I don't honestly think I would sell it for $7,000. Never, let alone 1,600. Because we put so much of our energy and our creativity into something. I find it very difficult to part with those things.
Mm.
Same as when I make bras and panties. It's very hard to part with them. You know, because I just put them in my drawer. But there were 2 pairs of panties that I made recently, and I just didn't like them when they were finished. They didn't quite fit perfectly, so I never wore them. And last night at the Quilt Guild meeting, they were collecting, I think it was last month, they were collecting panties for one of the charities somewhere here, Delta. So the lady was very impressed with the panties, and she said, "Did you make those?" And I said, "Yes." So I'm hoping somebody will get some wear out of them, because I knew I wasn't going to wear them. They just were not my style. So I've gone back to using my other pattern that I prefer.
You
Okay,
must have a bra for every day of the year now. You've posted so
quite.
many pictures of them.
Not quite. I think probably the last count was about 50. But there's a lot that I don't take out the drawer because they don't fit perfectly.
Mm.
And I was actually just thinking the other day, I've switched my closet. So now my winter stuff's been put away and my summer stuff come out, you know, to more accessible places. And I thought, you know what, you really need to go through that drawer and take out all the bras that you're not wearing, and either just use them for samples or give them away to people who don't mind that they're being worn half a dozen times. You know, that fit them. Because,
Yeah.
you know, it might be, it just wasn't the best style for me, or I didn't do it properly when I made it. But it's a perfectly good bra for somebody. Okay, so I think I'm going to switch the recording off unless anybody else has got any other questions. No?